Okay, good evening friends. We have amongst us Geeta Sukumaran, who is working in CSIR headquarters as OSDD science communicator for past 1 year. So Geeta, tell me, as a scientific communicator, why do you feel scientific communication is at all important?
Basically because unless any science which is done is communicated to the public, it will not contribute to any development. When it is locked up in journals or when it is locked up in publications, technical publications, and when a common man cannot understand it, he is not going to apply it in his daily life. So in order to, for a technology to be popular, the common man need to understand it, and for that we need to communicate something in a language which he understands. So I think basically if you give them all technical stuff, they are definitely not going to understand it. So we need to convert the technical data into a format which a common person can understand. I think that is
Okay, brilliant. So as part of OSDD team, have you come up with any kind of way through which you are reaching out to common man to explain your technology?
Yeah, basically OSDD has been publishing a lot of journals, a lot of papers in journals, but what I am trying to do is to bring out newsletters so that whatever scientific findings are occurring, I can communicate to the public so that they are aware that such a measure is going on towards the finding of one or two.
And your newsletters are weekly or published monthly?
No, they are monthly.
They are monthly. Okay, and are they available freely or you have to log in?
They are on the website, so you can download them.
Alright, and so far do you feel that being a scientific communicator you have faced any sort of challenges?
Challenges are that you should keep in mind who your audience are. I mean, it shouldn't, when you are a postgraduate in science, you tend to use a lot of technical terms, but it is better to keep in mind who your audience is.
Okay.
Like Sukanya ma'am is there in CSI headquarters always says that if think of the person who is reading the stuff as your mother, write it in a way that your mother understands. So that is what we are.
Okay, so what kind of audience you are catering to?
We are basically the technical content goes for the researchers and students as well, but there are undergraduate students who might be just starting into research, so we should keep in mind that such an audience is also there who may not be well aware of the high-tech science which is going on, so we should make it simplified for them also.
Okay, so specifically your newsletters, they are for researchers or even you make it simplified?
It's for the common public, just to make them aware of what is going on in the university.
Okay, great. Thank you, Geeta, for sparing this time. Thanks a lot.
Actually, I do research in collaboration with open source drug discovery members, and I do run a lab which work in basic mechanisms, understanding the basic mechanisms of TB biology. And I think both the two overlap pretty much. There are some programs which are meant for basic sciences completely that I run as a PI, and there are some programs which I will not be able to do myself without the help of OSDD. And I don't think many of the individuals in the country or worldwide have that capability. So coming together is very important, and I believe that in next decade or so, research will be done this way only, that you collaborate with multiple people and you do research. And open source drug discovery just add one more angle to it, and that is you don't only collaborate and share with your collaborator, you actually collaborate with all the community which is around there. So you share your data and your thoughts with the community, and the community gives back their input to you, and then you can proceed in your research. So that's my take on OSDD.
It's good, sir.
Thank you.
It's good.
So I have been associated with the OSDD, especially I have been associated with Anshu, and because I have expertise in protein-protein interaction, they have made a map of number of proteins, out of which we picked up several important interacting partners, and then we proved 4 of the interactions in microbacteria, and we have also identified 2 novel interactions. So most probably that will add new angle to the virulence of microbacteria.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, sir.